Hey, party people. Welcome to my runway review meets how do you make that for Saint Laurent Spring 2024 ready to wear collection. Okay, we're going to review the collection. We're going to talk about the source material, the brand aesthetic, the house codes of Saint Laurent. We're going to dissect the color story and how that is derived from traditional color stories and what you can learn from the color story, a little bit about the merchandising, individual designs, and we're going to wrap things up with a little how do you make that with the evening dresses towards the end. And yeah, I hope you like this kind of format of video. If you do, please drop me a comment below with the name of the next collection you want me to review in this way. All right, let's go. So let's start by looking at the collection overall. It is completely based on the safari jacket, the famous 1967 safari jacket Yves Saint Laurent did. And let's start by looking at the source material. This is the original 1967 safari jacket. The identifying markers of a safari jacket are number one, the big pockets, both at the top and the bottom, typically accompanied by a pocket flap that is buttoned down, and it usually has either a box pleat or an inverted box pleat. What is the difference? This is an inverted box pleat, okay? It's folded so that it looks like that. They're folded towards each other, and a lot of the time you can put a contrast in the inside. Like this piece can be a different fabric and you fold it in, and sometimes you get a peekaboo of a different color or fabric, but that's an inverted box pleat. A box pleat is literally the other side where the box is shown, these folds are shown on the outside. That's the only difference between the two, and you can make them as wide or as narrow as you want. You can put 3 in a row. You can put the one singular, up to you, okay? But these pockets are known for those pleats in the center with a big pocket flap with a button. Safari jackets are typically button front, and they have a convertible collar lapel situation, meaning they're not a standard like blazer style collar and lapel. They are structured so that you can wear it open with the lapel showing, but you could also button it up so it just looks like kind of like a shirt collar with like a row of buttons. Okay, they're typically on the longer side, belted. Right? So those are kind of the identifying elements of a traditional safari jacket. You are probably more familiar with this very famous Verushka photo with the safari dress. Vaccarello, the CD at Saint Laurent, he has said that he wanted to do away with the lacing for this collection, that he was taking the safari style and just stripping it to the purest form of safari jacket. He wanted to pare it down and strip it down to something that was really about clothes, really wearable, none of this extra doodads and add-ons. And that's really kind of what it looks like. Honestly, when Vaccarello is not trying to audition for the Chanel job by adding things like camellias and extra gold to all of his stuff, I kind of like his work at Saint Laurent. Here's a photo of Yves Saint Laurent himself with some of his muses wearing the safari style. And let's go back to the modern day collection, okay? So you see that the way he has done his pockets are even more minimal. He's retained the pocket but removed the flap. And it is a pocket. It's a big pocket. He's got chest pockets and hip pockets on a jumpsuit. So he's made that kind of silhouette and the proportions and everything much more modern feeling. It's not oversized, but it's not fitted. It's got the slouchy look. It's got a very louche, Parisian, chic, slouchy fit with a very modern proportion pocket with the buttons that references the safari without you immediately thinking of the famous Verushka photograph. Putting a zip front also modernizes the whole look. Here it is in black. I always tell people, like, you have to run every style in multiple colors unless it is such a special effect, like so much embellishment, a completely beaded over fabric, something really special. Other than that, everything should come in multiple colors. And that is true whether your brand sells $30 sweaters or your Saint Laurent. So here's the black one. What's different about it? Nothing. It's just black. You know, I think this is a sateen, Sateen, which is a cotton satin. If you look at this close up, you can see the twill, the cotton twill. I bet it's a little bit on the glossy side, so I'm gonna vote sateen, like a really high quality sateen. Here's another one that has a button placket. It's very similar to the others in terms of the pocket, the fit, the collar, but it's got a button placket, belt loops, this sort of compound pocket, which honestly, you know I love pockets. I'm not going to fight extra pockets. Give me all the pockets. You know, it's like not quite too many pockets for it to be a cargo pant. Not quite that like utilitarian camper looking, but definitely a lot of pockets. It would not be a Vaccarello Saint Laurent collection without a slouchy pencil skirt to the knee, very chic. I like this weird fly. It is definitely not your standard J-stitch fly. I would have to like be able to open it up and see how the zipper fits inside to show you how to make something like that. But this is one of those things where it's a little cool, extra different thing without it having to be a loud, totally avant-garde thing, but something that moves it forward, makes it modern, you know, makes it a little bit different. Whereas the fit, it's modern. It's nothing wildly different. You got a little referential button on the pocket. When you think about house codes and brand aesthetics, you know, managed trousers, menswear influences, slouchy feel, like these are all hallmarks of the OG Yves Saint Laurent, and they've been made more modern for this collection, but it definitely has a distinct Saint Laurent feel. Here's another one in this khaki. If I were being uncharitable, I would say it's like one of those things where design teachers will be like, okay, take a classic garment like a trench coat and design it 20 different ways, which is something I have done, which is something that I have assigned, which is something that I probably assigned on this channel. Because it's a fun exercise and it does stretch your design muscles. And he's done it in a good way. I really like this collection, but it definitely is take the safari jacket and design it 20 different ways. So now we have the pockets on the hips. We have the button placket on the front. Little reference to that on the tank. Very slouchy on the jumpsuit. It's a different kind of button placket. It looks more like a very slouchy man's white button-down shirt turned into a jumpsuit, which is to me very chic. This looks like a jacket skirt combo. It's like a safari jacket meets a bomber jacket. Lots of buttons, horn buttons. Trench meets safari with the giant pockets, with the pocket flaps. Safari style meets drapier fabric, so you get a much more softly falling around the body silhouette. Big shoulders. I mean, I had hoped we would be moving away from the big shoulders. This is probably one of my least favorite looks because, you know, these looks have this very, like, the styling of the show is very, like, 80s, high contour, smoky eye, plus red lipstick, big gold jewelry. And it was a look, but this looks a little bit more costumey now because it's got the really wide shoulders that go with it. And I just feel like if you get too many references to one decade, it starts pulling costumey. Okay? Whereas having a very strong 80s reminiscent makeup look with that whole 60s, 70s safari vibe, with more modern detailing, like it pulled it away from being costumey. This is one of those things that reminds me it's also part about the merchandising where you also want to offer a variety of silhouettes so that people of different body types can embrace each look and shop each look. Because some people don't want a slouchy pant, they don't want a mannish trouser, they want a more slim cut trouser so they can tap into this collection and wear these colors, wear these fabrics, but in a slimmer look like this. And so when you look at the variety of silhouettes, you're addressing the way different people want to dress their bodies while still going back to the original theme. There's a lot of mesh tops in this collection, and I don't know if you saw that Instagram post a few weeks ago about how I've been feeling very like free the titties. Not me personally, but just in my own design work. So I have been really feeling this vibe. I want to talk to you about the color story of this collection. This follows the analogous color scheme. Analogous color schemes are colors that are neighboring each other on the color wheel. Okay? And this color scheme is pretty much here. It's a red to yellow analogous color scheme. It's got tints, shades, and tones of these colors. Okay? And here's the thing is when I say, red, orange, yellow, a lot of people hear those words and immediately think fire engine red, bright sunny yellow. And to me, these are just the base notes for all these colors that are going on. Okay? And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I do encourage you to take my color theory for fashion course on Patreon that's coming up in a couple of weeks. But I'm going to show you how, even though there are really there's one bright color in this whole collection, it follows this color story, okay? First of all, we have all these yellows. This khaki is a dull yellow mixed with black. How do I know? Look at this. See this? I love this color wheel. If you want one of these color wheels, I'll link it below, but this is yellow plus black, which is these colors, okay? These khaki colors are all yellow plus varying degrees of black, okay? The dull yellow, that's what khaki is. And some of these more lighter colors are tones of yellow, which is here. You see how these are all in the same family? A tone is color plus gray. And so a light gray has been added to yellow to create this khaki color. This is essentially khakis. It's yellow with blacks, with grays mixed in together to create these dull neutrals, right? And here's a brown that is a little bit on the yellow-orange, dull sort of color story of neutrals. This has a more ruddy, reddish undertone of the brown, okay? Even if you don't look at the reddish gloves to tip you off, but you see how these browns go well together because they have the same ruddy undertone. So, red plus black, red plus dark gray. Browns, for the most part, are just dark oranges. Okay, and some of them tip more neutral like a yellow brown, and some of them tip more ruddy like a red brown. But yeah, essentially browns, a lot of them are orange plus blue. Okay, if you've seen any of my videos on complementary colors, okay, why is this important? Because when you're putting colors together, when you're trying to find the right neutral to go with colors, if they share an undertone, you're going to get a much more successful match of matching the color with the neutral, okay? I do have a whole video on undertones if you want to watch that, okay? Here we are getting into the reds. This is red plus gray. It's got the black to darken it, but a little bit of the white to kind of dull it down. Although, honestly, the best burgundies are typically red plus green. Here's another brown, all these browns. I love all the older models in this, Black and white goes with everything. Here's a smoky. This is the bluest we get. This is the like only touch of cool tones in this entire collection, is this kind of smoky gray, charcoal gray. Not quite charcoal because it's not neutral enough. Because do you see how it is a bending purple? Okay. I think it's like the only one that can do that. Black and white. Here's a beautiful coppery brown with orange undertones. Orange red. Here is green. It looks greenish. It's like, do you see how close this color is to this yellow plus black? But it's a little bit more green than that. Just a little bit more green than this. So it's like on this like straddling right this edge right here. It's like the only greenish looking color here. A ruddy brown. There's that same smoke color. A lot of reds, yellow oranges, mustard. Okay. And this beautiful yellow, orange, gold. That's the whole collection. We have that. And usually, and this is, how many looks is this? I think it's about 50 looks. But usually when you have bigger collections, like Valentino does like 80 looks, and it looks like they don't really have a cohesive color story. That's true. Oftentimes when you have groups of clothes in a huge collection, each group has their own color story. And we can go more into that with other collections in the future. So if you want me to analyze a bigger collection, drop me a note below. So yeah, the whole collection is an analogous color story. It's red, yellow, and orange, but it doesn't scream bright yellow, bright orange. It's very neutral. It's very yellow heavy. And even the colors are very dulled down and wearable and soft and grown up. Let's take a look at the couple of the evening gowns towards the end and dissect how you would make them. Because honestly, a lot of the kind of safari looks, like, if you wanted to, you could probably find a commercial pattern for a safari jacket and edit it to the look you were going for. Like buy a size up if you want a more boxy look, make room in the pattern for shoulder pads, like try a different material, those kinds of things. But these are a little bit different. I want you to focus, first of all, on the difference between gathers and flounces, okay? When you have gathers, you can see how they're literally gathered, okay? This is a big rectangle of fabric that has been gathered. And so this is taking actually quite a lot of fabric in the width, right? Here too, you can see how it's all gathered in to create the look. And this is how a lot of people make ruffles, is to take a very long, wide strip of fabric and you just, gather it all up on one end, on one side, and create a million ruffles, okay? And then there are flounces, okay? And flounces, you can see here, it's not gathered. There's like a few random little puckers where the sewing was done a little bit sloppy. We're just going to skip that part. But there are no gathers, okay? You can see the drapes, but it doesn't look like here where it's distinctly gathered around the neckline. And that means that the pattern was done with a circle, okay? I'll show you. I cut these handy dandy muslins out. If you look at this is a circle. This is how you make a circle skirt, by the way, okay? If you were to make a circle skirt, this is your waistline. This is your hem. The end. So do you see how, I mean, this edge would be cleaner if I sewed it as opposed to pinning it for the demo. But you see how when you put a circular next to and connect it to a straight, you create these flounces. And if you want more flounces, like more like drapes than this, you would make that inside hole even smaller, right? So what is happening here is you have this piece and this has been gathered. So this is like what? Chiffon, mousseline, probably mousseline, and gathered 2x, 3x along the edge. So this is, the pattern looks like this. It's like an exaggerated version of this, right? And then this comes down like that. And if this is your center front, it's cut like that. And this is going to shrink in here. And then you're going to have a circle. And what I would do is after you've established that piece, I would take a circle piece and I would pin it to the mannequin to go along the style line, you know, this line, make this piece really long and let it fall and drape as you want. Okay. You see how that's starting to look similar, like this seam line? Okay. So many cops. What's going on today? So many cops. Okay. You see this style line? So you have this style line, and then you drape a big circle, much longer than I've had it. Let it drape, and then you hem it on the drape to the length that you want. And that's how you get the pattern for this piece in there. The rest of it is easy. Look, the ends of the sleeves just gather, so just big rectangles. This skirt gathers at the top, so it would, the pattern most likely will taper a little bit, unless, yeah, it might taper a little bit. And then the bottom, just a bunch of gathers, double layer. It looks like a bubble bottom, so it's like gathered, doubled over, and then sandwiched in there like that. It's like this. Do you see how this is so solid and this part is so see-through? My guess is the skirt bottom is doubled like this. Here's the back, here's the outside. And the skirt part, one layer is sandwiched like that. And in that way, you don't see any of the raw edges. You don't need any bulky seam finishing. It's all doubled and sandwiched up in here. And now it's so opaque, you can't really see the inside. And this is a single layer of sheer skirt. This part. All right. So that's how you would make that. Questions, comments, drop them below. Please give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new today. Share, subscribe, all the ways you show me love. Let me know if you like this kind of video and if I should keep going with these. And I will see you in the next video.